What was your inspiration?
The inspiration is years of people saying, how do you do this work? How do you help people with your trauma and still be happy? How do you do the work, go deep with people and not be completely burned out all the time?
Mm-hmm.
But we have to have the energy to do it. We have to be able to sustain the work so we can sustain our vision and do it in a way where we can feel energized and not exhausted, not resentful. Because if we get exhausted, we'll get resentful, and that impacts our work too. And not just our work, right? It impacts our family life, our vision, our vacation, everything.
This morning I was getting ready and I just had this realization that it's a Tuesday and I am getting ready to have one of the most incredible human beings on the podcast that I know personally, that I get to have a conversation with and then share her wisdom with the world. And I just had one of those, like, I've arrived moments. And I was like, I've arrived. Like, this is it. This is what I've worked so hard for. A life that I get to design and get to spend time with people that I want to spend time with and learn from, more importantly. And so that's why I am so excited to introduce Rebecca to my audience. Rebecca, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, my pleasure. And thank you for feeling that way about wanting to spend this time with me. I always know that when we get together, there's going to be some magic made.
Always some magic. This is going to be a jam-packed episode. I can already feel it. I can imagine where this is going to go, but I'm also allowing flow to take over and let's see what comes through. But I think a good place to start, you're really all about creating the whole life happy approach.
Yeah.
And I'm curious if you can share what inspired that. What from your journey and your life experience inspired that?
I can imagine where I was. I can think about where I was when I thought this work that I'm doing impacts the person's entire life. It impacts every single part of their journey, and it impacts every person they meet, because every bit of who we are in any given moment impacts people, impacts those around us, impacts our next step. And not because I loved algebra, but I realized that we are the common denominator of our whole life. And that when we take a really good look at what that means that our set of beliefs impacts our whole life. Our fears impact our whole life. The way that we love, the way that we communicate, the way that we talk to ourselves, the way that we give ourselves grace, the way that we don't give ourselves grace, and everything impacts every part of our lives, because we are the ones that show up wherever we go. That whole package arrives everywhere we go, even when we try to push it away. Even when we try to push the fear away, we try to push the anger away, we try to put on the mask or be the person that's on, we are still fully showing up. And when we start to heal, when we start to release our fears, when we really step into and embody that confidence, that calmness, that certainty, and allow our creativity, then every bit of our lives gets impacted in a positive way.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also a little asterisk in there. I am a holistic hypnotist. And that means that I don't just come in and do like the quick dusting, right? Like, we are sweeping out the corners. We are making lasting change. We are not doing Band-Aid work. We're making things a permanent shift so that you can feel better in all these areas of your life for the rest of your life and build on that foundation.
Yeah. And from my own personal experience of working with you, I would also agree with that. I mean, you're definitely not the one that's like, okay, just come in for a session and then bye. Like,
Right.
I'm going to leave you to your own, like, just to deal with everything that just came up, and really integrating, because I think that it's one thing to know and one thing to have that experience, but then life happens and you've been who you were for a lot longer, right? Than this new perspective that maybe you have from your experiences with hypnotherapy. So can you walk us just quickly, Cliff Notes version, through really how you describe hypnotherapy in its role in women really stepping into their highest and greatest timeline?
Oh, my heart just feels so happy even with that question. Hypnosis allows us to access our foundational self, our subconscious patterns, our experiences and reframe them, neutralize the pain, and then help us to retrain ourselves to be the person that we want to be the person that our spirit is guiding us to be, our higher self is leading us to be. Our subconscious mind is the record of every single thing that happened to us and to people around us and to things we've seen in movies or heard on the news, or the story that someone told about the way grandma did it. That's all in our subconscious mind. For better or for worse, that's what's there. And those are the patterns and the stories that we are running our beliefs off of at any given time. And while we can do lots of mindset work, we can do therapy, we can do talk therapy, we can do all of the many wonderful kinds of therapy there are. The thing that will help us retrain our subconscious mind is hypnosis. That is the fastest path. And it's the least painful, if you can imagine, the least painful path to permanent healing. And when we peel back, this is how I describe it, is peeling back the layers of the stories, peeling back the old beliefs. And you referenced this in your book, the collective beliefs, peeling back all of those beliefs to recognize what our true beliefs are, what we really value. I'm getting goosebumps everywhere. What we really value in our lives, and then discovering and uncovering and setting and keeping our standards. Then we operate from that place to create the vision that's been in our heart, on our spirit, our higher self has been leading us to. When we do it from a place that is unsure, in pain, full of judgment against ourselves, we end up sharing that inadvertently with other people. And that is not your fault. I'm not here to shame anybody, because I did not know what I didn't know until I got into this work. And still, 21 years in, I'm still uncovering things and shifting things for myself and going back and doing the work. So we get to be works in progress. So there's no shame in this game at all. It's about, if you're going to be the powerful leader that you want to be, where you are in your own personal power is what I mean, not power over others, right? But the power to attract the life that you want, magnetize people, move the people, have the impact that you want, then it is your responsibility to be the strongest, healthiest version of yourself, period. Mm-hmm. And hypnosis helps us get there faster and easier and more permanently than anything else. More permanently.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, because it's interesting, even now in this day and age, where I think that there's a lot more awareness of the tools that are out there. Sure. A lot of them are being demystified. The stigma is going away of it being woo-woo and niche and something that's not talked about in big circles, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Interestingly enough, in my own journey, I went through a lot of healing, right? And as a high performing woman who has big dreams and a big vision, and this vision has me like this, like I can't not move towards it. But at some point I realized, and I'm curious what your thoughts are on this, that I was in a bit of a healing loop, meaning like I was identifying as I'm healing. Yeah. I'm healing. I was collecting a lot of knowledge. I was doing courses and I was doing all of these things. And one day I really sat with it. It was this belief underneath it all that you're still not quite right. You need to be fixed in order to be ready to do what you came here to do. And so I shifted my belief and even my verbiage of how I identify and explain myself from I'm healing to I'm expanding.
Yes.
And when you're expanding, you're naturally going to come up against your comfort zone. And like you said, you're going to come back up against some of those limiting beliefs at a deeper level, right? That you get to work through the expansion, but that you in essence are whole, right? You're already whole. So what are your thoughts on that and how you handle that? Because I know that you mostly serve women like me, right? That are leaders, coaches, healers, those that have a mission and a divine assignment that is like a fire in their belly.
So the way that you positioned it, you are perfect. That is how I feel. You are already whole, perfect, and complete, period. You don't need to be fixed. Usually so there's a couple things that come up here. First of all, when you were talking about taking all the courses, doing all the things, pulling in all the knowledge, right? Learning is not the same as healing.
Mm-hmm.
New awarenesses are not the same as healing. So I want to address that first. So often we can learn about healing and think, oh, I'm healed. And that will actually keep us in a loop of chasing more knowledge because we haven't actually healed. So we're in this story that we have to keep healing and you have to keep learning new things because the underlying feeling is still there. Even though we have tons of knowledge, we've built a huge library of knowledge in our head, but the pain is still there. There's this idea of chasing healing. Like I'm never going to be good enough unless I'm healed 100%. And you already have so much wisdom. You already have your gifts. Your gifts are medicine for the world right now. You don't have to be perfect to start helping people. You don't have to be, no one always, this is a phrase I've heard many times when people say, okay, I've cleared the decks. I'm ready to work with you. You don't have to clear the deck.
Yeah.
You don't have to have everything in your life organized. You don't have to know everything perfectly before you take action. That is the story your subconscious mind is telling you based on a story of perfectionism around trauma that you had to be perfect or you would be abandoned. You have to be perfect or you wouldn't be accepted or loved or whatever the story is, right? So this is the thing often that women are dealing with because the fawning and being perfect has been trained from a very, very young age.
Mm-hmm.
So recognizing that knowledge is not healing. So if you're feeling like you need to heal something, you might still need to heal something. But also, you don't have to do 80 kinds of healing every single day and burn yourself out trying to heal. Give yourself space. And when you're talking about expansion and that you're going to bump up against things, that's exactly right. Because you're going to expand and then you're going to have this beautiful contraction.
Yep.
And the contraction is just as important and valuable as the expansion. The contraction is for the refuel. It's for the reset, for the refocus, for the check-in. Do you really want that? What you really want? Because you may have changed your mind because you're a new person every day. And to allow yourself so much love and grace in the contraction will actually give you so much energy for getting out in the expansion again. I used to be so ashamed of the contraction. Like, oh, I'm sick. Oh gosh, I'm sick. What's wrong with me? How did I get sick? I'm doing everything right. Or I thought I was on such a great path. And now I bumped up against something and my story became, oh my gosh, I can't have it. I had to slow down so I can't have what I want. Almost as if this contraction said that I was destined for the opposite of all my dreams.
So true. I love how you said that because you know the law of polarity, right? And you will think, okay, I've moved past all of this. It's the illusion of that I've worked through this limiting belief, so it's gone. Like it's completely gone from my psyche. It's never going to pop up again. That's just not reality, right? Because we're dealing with a nervous system that is geared for a certain behavior and it's going to respond and react. But having, I think, the awareness is key for allowing you to reframe and to choose a different behavior than you would have in the past, to make a different choice. But like you said, just having the awareness and being up here in your mental body is not the same as being embodied and in your body. As you were talking, I was reminiscing on my time working with you. And for the listeners who haven't heard our recent podcast, or I guess it was a couple of years ago, you were on the Empowered Life. I've shared this story with many of my coaching clients. I was in a place where a lot of things were coming to the surface. I was having a lot of bodily symptoms, and I knew that it wasn't going to be traditional Western medicine that was going to fix me. I knew that this was something that was wanting to get my attention. But man, I had control issues. Like I was so afraid to lose control. And I cannot tell you how many women I've shared this story with, and they're like, oh yeah, me too. I would never do hypnotherapy because I don't want to know, right? I'm afraid
Mhm.
of what I'll see.
Sure.
So what do you say to that woman?
You're afraid of what you'll see. You're seeing it every day. You're thinking about it all
Right.
the time. In 21 years and nearly 3,000 clients, I will tell you there have been very few surprises. It is not like people come to sessions and they unlock all these memories they didn't know they had. If we're even in these rare occasions that I'm talking about, people come to me saying, I know there's something, I have a memory of something that's kind of there that I really want to understand. I know that's related to the feelings I'm feeling in my body or the beliefs I'm having about a certain thing. Almost never, and I mean this truly, almost never is it, oh my gosh, I've unlocked a bunch of stuff that I didn't know was there. And in fact, the stuff that's there, you might have a hint that, oh, that did bother me. But what happens really in hypnosis is the realization, oh, I didn't understand how that thing impacted my life. I didn't understand how it was affecting my beliefs. I didn't understand that's the root of all of this. And then we can heal it, that experience, in just a few minutes. It's not like we're unlocking 747s full of baggage and trying to solve all that in a session. We're doing little pieces by little pieces that are impacting you immediately and things that you've thought about. And this is part of my sharing my house rules when I meet with someone about when they're applying to work with me is bring everything to the table. This
Mhm.
is part of that holistic part again. Bring it all to the table because that little piece that you want to leave off the table, the thing that you haven't told anybody about, the thing that you had 3 therapists and you never mentioned it to any one of them, the thing that you tried something before, but you never have talked about it with anybody, that's the thing that will unlock everything for you. I just had a new consult a couple of weeks ago and they said to me, okay, I've spent a lot of time and a lot of resources trying to heal. But when you said that I've got to tell you everything, they said, okay, this is the thing. I've never told anybody this.
Mhm.
And it is a source of so much shame and pain for me that I can't let myself get visible because I'm worried someone will find out about this.
Yeah.
Or can't let myself work with so many clients and be open to so many clients because what if somebody finds out? And then we can heal that and set you free.
Mhm.
It's the stuff you're already thinking about, that stuff you're already pushing away, that are the keys that will unlock your freedom. It's not the stuff that you have to worry about coming up unless you literally have repressed certain times of your life. And I remember going even all the way back to my hypnosis training because I have one of those memories that I remember everything. So if you try to go up against me in a memory, I will know the details and I won't believe you because I trust my mind and my memory so much. So I remember being in hypnosis training and the day that we were all going to do our big sessions because we work with each other as students, right? Everybody was quiet at lunch. We were all like, oh my gosh, how's this afternoon going to be? How is my session going to be? What's going to come up? What's going to come out? And it's always the familiar things. And I don't really like to speak in absolutes. There have been the rare occasion, like I said, but it's usually the things that you have been pushing away, have been fighting to think about, fighting to cover up, those sources of guilt, shame, doubt, blame that are the ones that come up in session, not things you don't know about. Yeah.
Well, I have to commend you, Rebecca, because control was a big theme for me. It still comes up. And as I'm expanding, like practicing releasing control even more. But at that moment in my life, you were such a blessing because I think you create such a safe space. And
Mm,
for those of you listening, I wasn't in Rebecca's home or at her office. Like we were doing this remotely.
mhm.
And that was also something I remember thinking, like, how on earth am I going to get into a state like that? You know, in my home, lying down. But you do it so beautifully. And it's like magic. I was able to just completely relax. And as you said, it was nothing came up that was a big surprise. But I think for me, what was the most surprising was how little moments, as you said, little seemingly inconsequential moments from my childhood would come forward. Then I got to see how they were all connected. And it was like mind blowing to me. And I would run down, and after I'd processed and integrated some and talked to Rudy about it, and he'd be like, really? Like from that situation, that's what this belief or this program came from? And I'm like, pretty much that is what it is. So I am such a believer in hypnotherapy, and I think you have to pay attention to what you're drawn to. And it's not for maybe everybody, but I would just urge anyone who is really looking to stop avoiding and just get to the root. Because once you can do that, like after we worked together, I was sitting here cataloging, and I was like going through in my mind, that was in 2022, I believe. After we worked together, I stopped drinking alcohol completely. It's like I wouldn't have identified as an alcoholic, but I sure wanted a glass of wine almost every night. So what is, I don't know, I think there's different spectrums. And that was a numbing device for me. It was something that helped me numb at the end of the day. It's like the urge just went away. It's like whatever that was there, that went away. I started opening up to writing my book, and I really committed this time and actually made it happen. So that was different.
Beautiful.
I started speaking on stages. It wasn't like overnight, but what I recognize is when I would come up against familiar situations, for instance, an opportunity for me to speak up on a stage, I noticed, I was like, that old resistance that was underneath just was a lot quieter, to the point where I was like, okay. So I just wanted to share, for the benefit of our listeners, like what my experience had been and really what the impact was, so that you can consider it. And I would, of course, only recommend Rebecca because she's my favorite. All right. So I have another question for you as it relates
absolutely.
to your work, because as you said, your work extends far beyond just hypnotherapy, but you really support women through the whole gamut, right, of moving forward. What do you see as some of the biggest blocks for women right now that are coming to you?
Okay. So there are a couple things that are happening, especially with healers and leaders, that I noticed because I noticed them in myself, right?
Yeah.
And one right off the top was how much time we're spending unconsciously judging ourselves. And then naturally, because we're judging ourselves, judging everything else and everyone else. And that sounds harsh, right? It sounds like, ooh, okay, am I judging? We are judging. We're judging everything because our subconscious mind only wants to keep us safe. So we're looking at everything through that lens of safety. Our subconscious mind does not give a flying fig about our happiness or our joy or our big vision. It's trying to keep us safe. So our judgment is a natural extension of that subconscious, of those subconscious patterns, right? And so we're judging our client as good enough or right enough or doing well enough. And then we're judging ourselves. Are we leading our client in the right way? Are we doing what we can do? We're taking over responsibility for things that are not ours to take. We're taking over responsibility for our client results. And even when we're first meeting a client, we're deciding probably before they are, if the client can do the work, which is an important thing to ask, right? But also, are they capable of change through our eyes? Can they afford? Do they have the resources for the service? Sometimes we're telling stories about what people can afford or can't afford before they've even opened their mouth based on our perception of them. And then we're judging the people who have been part of their stories, the perpetrators who have been part of their stories, the results of their stories. We're judging how things were handled or not handled. So judgment is coming in many forms throughout the work, getting a client, having a client, getting into the work with them, looking through their stories in their life and hearing their stories. Because when we work with people, whether we are a business coach or a personal coach or a hypnotist or a therapist of any kind, we're learning people's stories. And we have to be very careful how we respond to those stories. And our responses come from our judgment. Mm-hmm. Even Me taking a breath in a certain way during a hypnosis session will change your result. If I gasp when you tell me something, you're going to start having thoughts about what's going on in my mind. Did I do something wrong? Did I say the wrong thing? Is she reacting to this way because I'm not doing this right? Should I be more outraged? Should I be more calm? Did I make a bad decision getting involved with this person who eventually hurt me, for example? And this is such a huge thing that it's so invasive, but our clients are constantly looking to us for reassurance and that safe feeling. And one of the ways that we create safety for them is to not judge them or any part of their story. So they never have to defend a single thing to us. Ever. I don't ever want my client to feel like they have to be perfect or have to defend a decision to be in a relationship that ended up being painful for them, that they had to come and do the work to heal from that relationship. That's not my job. My role is to hold space for them to heal in a safe environment. And I can do my best to make it safe for them by not judging any part of their story.
I love that you bring up judgment because I don't think we talk about it enough. I really don't. And I also think that as the energy of Earth is evolving and we are evolving, we have to evolve our way of being and our way of showing up in our work and in our mission, if you will, and especially light workers and people that are coaches and healers and really tasked with helping lead people through this and help them heal. It really becomes about frequency and trusting that your frequency is going to draw in your frequency, not your marketing. I mean, yes, your marketing is a part of your frequency, but it's really what's underneath the marketing, what's underneath the words, right? Your frequency is going to draw in a very specific set of people that I believe are contracted, you have soul contracts with, to support during this time. They're going to feel drawn. They might not understand why you, of all the millions of coaches or healers or leaders or whatever, they're drawn to you and they're sitting in front of you. And for me, what really helped was shifting into, this is a sacred appointment. This is not a sales call. And if spirit thinks I'm qualified enough for this beautiful appointment, then I am. And I have to trust that. And I love that you bring up that you weren't just experiencing this in your clients, because it's a reflection that you're experiencing in you and how we will attract people that are just like we're teaching them. They're also teaching us just as much as we are teaching them. And they're always going to mirror back to us what is going on within ourselves. So thank you for that. That's just beautiful.
Absolutely. Thank you. This judgment comes in many different outfits. It shows up many different ways. And the number one thing it's doing is keeping us out of love. Judgment is rooted in fear, which is the opposite of love. To be in that place of love and trust, then you get to be really present for the person, present for yourself, present for the lesson, and present for the inspiration, the download, the clarity and certainty that creativity brings. When we're in that, where we're in that place of judgment, we are blocking so much. We are out of alignment with our truth, and we're creating stories that are not about the client, their experience. And as I mentioned, judgment had so many outfits. It's like, you're judging your client, you're judging yourself, you're judging your neighbor, you're judging everybody. And all of that judgment is taking so much energy that if you do not heal the trauma that's at the root of the judgment so that you can release the judgment, you will spend so much energy fighting the judgment and so much energy simply in judgment. It takes a lot of bandwidth to have all those opinions, to have all those stories, to create all those outcomes, to react or to try to tamp down your reaction. That when you clear the root of the judgment, that you'll notice there's so much energy there because you're just not overworking by being in judgment.
Well, it also lets you know where your awareness is coming from. So when you're in your heart space and you're coming from that place of love, then there is no judgment. You're being and you're being present. The minute you pop out of presence and you're into future casting, or you think about the past, or you're trying to manipulate an outcome. That's just your ego in your mind, right? Trying to take over again. And I think it's becoming aware, and it's totally natural because we're human and it's going to happen. But I think that, like you said, it is a big part of, or it can become a huge obstacle for being able to step fully into your work in your fullness, because it will become that thorn in your side that just never really allows you to fully just ground into what you're doing, in the knowing that your energy is working for you. I actually believe, Rebecca, if I came to your house and I just sat and hung out with you in your room, just in your energy, because you've got a beautiful energy, that there would be things happening on the energetic level in my body and transformation happening, because you hold the energy of transformation without you even having to utter a word. And I really want people to hear that, because your energy is the magic. And yes, we have to get the right word and be all eloquent, and it has to sound exactly the right way. But what if your energy really was your strategy?
Absolutely.
So on that note, I know you have a book coming out, and
I do.
I'm so excited to talk about it, because I loved your first book, and I know this is going to be great. So, The Energized Healer.
Yeah.
What was your intention behind this book, and what was your inspiration?
The inspiration is years of people saying, how do you do this work? How do you help people with your trauma and still be happy? How do you do the work, go deep with people, and not be completely burned out all the time? And people kept asking me that. And for years, clients would say, how do you listen to people's stories all day and not break down? And these are the principles that, speaking of releasing judgment, is one of the principles that we talk about in Energized Healer, because we can co-create really fantastic, extraordinary results with our client. But we have to have the energy to do it. We have to be able to sustain the work so we can sustain our vision and do it in a way where we can feel energized and not exhausted, not resentful. Because if we get exhausted, we'll get resentful, and that impacts our work too. And not just our work, right? It impacts our family life, our vision, our vacation, everything. So after being asked that, I realized that I was doing things that other people were not doing. And I wanted to share what has helped me hold my energy for 21 years. And I plan on being very, very old with very white, long curly hair when I stop doing this work.
Yeah.
So I wanted to share the things that I was doing that I know helped me to get out of bed and not need caffeine. This is me without caffeine, being able to do that and to share, and to be able to share what's helped me sustain this career with energy and with the love and without resistance, without frustration, is something that has excited me, and also was told to me many years ago, by someone who said, you're going to be helping healers heal the world. And I thought, what? I don't have time for that. I have plenty of clients doing this, right? And most of my clients are leaders and healers and coaches and that kind of thing. So I felt like, I'm already helping the healers. I can't do this. You're telling me things that I don't need to be doing. And I was actually in a little bit of frustration with that message, because I thought, there is no space for this. And it's actually becoming a beautiful extension of the work that I do.
I love that you're writing this book, selfishly as well, because a lot of my work is healing work, but Rudy in particular, his work is definitely healing work. It's a different format and platform and container than what you do it in. But there will be times where he pays the price for not protecting his energy, not really doing the releases that he needs to do, not grounding as much as he needs to do, not resting as much as he needs to do. So could you give us like a quick sneak peek of one or two things that you would recommend that someone in the healing profession, or who is working with others' energy in a transformative way, do to maintain or recharge or to protect their energy?
Okay. So this is so important. You touched on something important too, because Rudy, as a healer, he heals in a different way. Like, Everybody heals in their own way. Attorneys connect with people and heal in their own way. Everybody is a healer in their own way. Everybody's got their own medicine. And I'm going to talk about two things, try to do rapid fire here. The first thing is own your freaking magic. Own your medicine. Trust that what you've got is what people need. Stop second guessing. Stop hiding. Stop pulling away. When you get to the juicy part and you're like, well, if I just said this, I think it would really drive it home for them, but I don't want to be too much or too big or too pushy or too whatever. Drive it home, but do it in a loving, gentle way. Speak your truth, because suppressing your truth is taking energy. You don't need to take more energy. And the other thing that I've said for years, we're in a fun deficit in this world, right? And it is definitely true in the past several years. We need to have fun. We need to unplug. We need to give ourselves space away from the push. Fun is fuel.
Yes.
The fuel we need to maintain our momentum and maintain our enjoyment of our passion. The drive, the push, that takes energy. And there are times when we absolutely have to push through. We feel like we've just got to handle this thing and then we can rest. And maybe you were trained that, oh, you got a break after you did all the hard work, right? Not a break in the middle, not a break before, but you had to wait till everything was perfectly done before you got to rest and go on vacation one time a year or whenever. But give yourself time off. Give yourself little moments of creativity outside of your work. Give yourself the permission to let go. Your ideas will come back the second you're back in your space. Your inspiration will come in stronger. One of my colleagues and former clients actually was just on a 2-week vacation, and she thought she just let go for 2 weeks, and she was just itching to get back when she was on her flight home, to get back to share all the inspiration she had.
Yeah.
All the inspiration that comes from letting go and letting the channel be open. This is important. It's not doing you any favors to not have fun. You don't get to be the stuffy healer who is so serious all the time. You get to still be reverent.
Yeah.
But exhausting yourself is not noble. It is not helping.
So true.
Your clients. Yeah. And it's not anything that you're helping as you're modeling that to other people.
Rudy and I, just yesterday, we were having a conversation and we were in the pool. It's summertime. And so we decided, we're like, what would it take for us to be done with work at 3:30 every day so we can have a pool party with our kids every day of the week? Mm-hmm. What would it take for us to rearrange our schedule? And you know what? We had such a good time. And we're like, why does this have to happen on a Saturday? Like, we've created these lives that we have the freedom, thankfully, to build our own schedule. So why don't we prioritize and build in fun every single day? And so that's our goal this summer. We've said it's going to be the most fun summer we've ever had. We're calling it our summer too, even though
I love it.
We have a summer, but it's so recharging. It is so recharging. I woke up today like just ready to go because I didn't work till 6 or 7 o'clock last night. And he felt the same way. So I 100% agree with you on that.
And you've released yourself of all the guilt that you have that you didn't get to spend that time with your kids because you decided to work those extra few hours. Yep. What a gift that you gave them, but also gave yourself, that you got to play. You got to be connected.
Yeah.
And it could be your kids. It could be your partner. It could be time connecting with yourself, with your puppies in your lap, which is one of my favorite things. And to just be is such a gift to yourself. You're not overthinking, oh, I haven't given myself any time. I haven't given my kids any time. You're releasing all that judgment from the future. Mm-hmm. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. I don't work generally more than 10 days a month.
Yeah. Good for you. I love
with
that.
My clients. I'm not with clients or training, teaching or coaching. Yeah. And that has been a standard of mine. And when I first started doing it, when I first made that decision and I started talking about how I didn't want to work more than 6 to 8 days a month was kind of my thing then. It was like, my subconscious mind was like, oh my gosh, but who are you if you're not working every single day? Who are you if you're not giving every single moment of the day? Like we were talking about earlier, if I'm not producing every moment, who am I?
Yep.
And the truth is we were born worthy and nothing has changed. You get to have fun. You get to take space. You get to be yourself. You're already amazing. You're already worthy. You were born that way and nothing has changed.
And I also think joy is the lubricant of abundance. Like your joy account should be your priority, because if you really start pouring into that account, you're going to see that your bank account just naturally refills. I don't believe that we are meant to be hoarders. Money is energy and it needs to flow and it needs to move. And when you are holding on so tightly to any area of your life, especially your finances, which I know is a big one for a lot of people, and you teach a lot around abundance, that it stagnates. You know what I mean? Like there's a kink in the hose. Sometimes rather than trying to find where the kink is, just take your focus off of it for a little bit and go have some fun. And it'll probably work itself out. So I love that you include that. I cannot wait to read this book. I think more and more people are really stepping up and stepping into their roles as healers, their roles as coaches and leaders and way showers and light workers. And it doesn't come with a manual, unfortunately. And I think sometimes we focus so much on the 3D version of building the business and then getting all this together. And what we miss is the energetic component. I would actually say it's more important to set yourself that you have this energetic architecture that has a strong foundation, that you know that you can kind of rinse and repeat. You have got your little systems in place, your rituals, the things that you do to protect, to rejuvenate, to refuel your energy, because that is going to be a direct reflection in the impact you're able to make for people. You want to be the most transformative, the most like unbelievably impactful at your life's work, then that is going to come as a result of you pouring into you first.
Yep. You don't need a website to do great business when you have poured into yourself first.
I think we make these things really important and we fail to look at the things that are actually the root cause, not the effect. And that is your energy. So I love that you're writing this book. I love that you're sharing this wisdom and that you answered the call. So thank you from all of us to you for doing that.
My pleasure.
Now, where can they find your book?
It will be out the end of July. And so you can connect with me, sign up for updates, but otherwise it'll be available somewhere around RebeccaWiener.com.
I love it. We'll link it in the show notes. And this episode should be coming out just before then. So that will be timely.
Perfect.
And I am just so grateful to you, Rebecca, for coming here today, for sharing your genius with us and your love and your energy. And I highly recommend anyone who is listening to this, any woman who is feeling the call or the pull, to schedule a call with Rebecca to learn more about what she does and the magic and the medicine that she has and she shares with you. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Thank you again for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next episode.